Hi everyone, welcome to this quick bite technical talk. My name is Corina Balan and I'm a senior solutions architect in the Dynamics 365 FastTrack team at Microsoft. Today I'll be introducing you to an autonomous agent that our team has recently published for automating sales order creation. This is our agenda for today. We'll start with a functional overview of the sales order agent, then a deep dive into the solution architecture and key components, followed by installation, configuration, and customization guidance, and close by sharing key resources. Let's start with the functional overview. We have heard from many enterprise customers that even if they are trying to digitize and automate orders creation with embedded forms on their portals or dedicated websites, they are still receiving a significant number of orders as attachments via email channel. Keying these orders is a time-consuming process with a high cost of operations spent on repetitive tasks. Also, customers are missing a single source of truth with emails scattered across mailboxes. This is where the sales order agent comes in. It promises to automate order capture from incoming email attachments directly into Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. From early pilots with customers, the agent leads to faster order confirmations, improved compliance, and visibility across initial attachments, extracted data, and the final F&O created order. The agent is configurable and customizable. A customer can take the solution as is and update it only via the configuration, or they can customize it by updating the agent components for more complex order creation scenarios, or even for creating other entities such as quotes, invoices, delivery notes, or other order-related documents. Next are the core features of the agent. Autonomous email processing. The agent is going to monitor a mailbox for email attachments, and it supports both shared and personal mailboxes. AI-powered document parsing. The agent is going to extract data from PDF and image attachments. ERP integration. The agent is going to validate customers, products, and create orders directly in finance and operations. Exception handling. The agent supports human-in-the-loop process as well for items requiring manual review. Automated notifications, and finally supported file types as we shared, PDFs and image files. So how does it work? The agent will be monitoring mailboxes and a specified folder for incoming emails with attachments. When an email with attachment arrives, the attachment is stored in Dataverse and the sales order agent proceeds to parse the received document. The original document and the parsed document in JSON format are persisted in Dataverse in a staging table. With automation, the extracted JSON data is then dispatched into dedicated staging sales order header and lines in Dataverse. Next step is for the agent to validate and uniquely identify in finance and operations the customer and the products. If the validation is successful, the agent is going to go ahead and create the order in finance and operations. Let's spend some minutes now on the sales order agent solution architecture. The sales order agent orchestrates the entire sales order processing workflow. It will invoke the appropriate agent flows based on the staging record processing status, and it will handle error scenarios and routing. The technical components are Copilot Studio Autonomous Agent that uses GenAI instructions with Office 365 triggers for new emails into personal and shared mailbox, and Dataverse triggers for that processing status update of the Dataverse staging tables. Then we have Copilot Studio Agent flows that have been used to implement deterministic parsing, sales order specific validation rules, as well as sales order header and lines creation. There are other Power Automate cloud flows that have been implemented for loading the extracted JSON into the Dataverse staging tables and also for the manual review use case. We are using AI Builder GPT prompts for document parsing, and finally, we are using Dataverse as the underlying staging data store. These are all of the flows that are included with the sales order agent solution. Starting with the agent flows that are used as tools within Copilot Studio. We have parse document. It will use Power Automate and AI Builder GPT prompt for parsing a document. Validate customer will try to uniquely identify the customer in finance and operations based on name, and then, if not found, will try by email address. Validate product will try to uniquely identify the released item in finance and operations using item code. Create order will create the order lines, and attach the original email attachment to the order in finance and operations. The next cloud flows complete the automation solution. Starting with load sales order data is a cloud flow that parses the output JSON that resulted from the original attachment, and it will create sales order header and sales order line staging rows in Dataverse. The flow update processing status to valid will automatically set the staging sales order header status to valid when the customer and the lines are valid. Reprocess the not processed lines. If we have partially saved orders where some lines could not be saved, a reviewer will be notified. They can correct the data either in Dataverse or directly in Finance and Operations, and then resubmit only the failed lines. Finally, the triggers of the agent. The triggers for emails received in personal or share mailbox are cloud flows that, besides triggering the agent, also contain logic for persisting the received attachment into Dataverse. And the trigger when status changes is a Dataverse trigger, and each time the sales order header staging status changes to values like new, valid, manual review, or processed, this flow will trigger the sales order agent to orchestrate the next steps. Now we'll look in more details at the 3 Dataverse core tables which support the execution of the sales order agent. Starting with staging document, it stores the attachment and the parsed data in JSON format with key columns, extracted data, and input document. Staging sales order header stores the customer, the company, and other header level details. Key columns include processing status. The value of this column drives the agent execution, with possible values being new, valid, manual review, processed, or processing failed. Valid customer is a flag that is automatically set by the agent execution. Valid lines, again, automatically set by the agent executions. If there is at least one product that is not identified, valid lines is set to no, and the processing status is set to manual review with a notification being sent out. A reviewer may do the necessary corrections and reset the flag valid lines as well as valid customer back to yes. ERP customer number, it is automatically set by the agent during the validation phase. If the customer is not identified, the processing status is set to manual review. ERP sales order number, it is again automatically set by the agent after it completes the creation of the order in the ERP system. Customer name and customer email are automatically set by extracting the data from the sales order received as email attachment. Try again to process failed lines is a flag that is relevant for retrying partially created orders due to intermittent failures. Company code, it is automatically set by the agent with the value read from an environment variable called company code. In order to change this behavior and to introduce multiple companies, you can extend the logic, as we will see in the next couple of minutes. Staging sales order lines. This table stores line level data, product codes, and product details. Key columns include the processing status, which has automatic status transitions similar to the header status transitions. Product code, product description, product quantity, unit of measure are automatically set by the agent. ERP product code is automatically set during the agent's validation phase. And the validation message is as well set by the agent. In case any lines are not valid, then you will see the relevant message in order to correct the data. In order to extract data from the email attachment, we are using an AI Builder GPT prompt that can receive as input a file of our image and it will output a JSON. If you require to capture additional columns, for example, VAT number, you would need to include the columns in the AI Builder data extraction prompt. If you want to persist this new column that you have extracted, you should also create a Dataverse column in the staging sales order header or in the staging sales order lines, depending on where this data should be stored. And make sure that in the load sales order data flow, which is the flow that actually creates the staging sales order header and lines, you do add a line for correctly populating this new data flow from the extracted JSON column. Now let's have a look at the agent in action with two scenarios. The automatic run, where the agent is going to autonomously parse the document, successfully validate the customer and products, and create the order in finance and operations. And the human in the loop run, where the agent will again autonomously parse the document, might not be able to validate the customer or the items, and it will involve a human reviewer. The reviewer can make necessary changes with the order then being submitted for the agent to reprocess. For the automatic run demo, we start from Outlook. Here we are sending an email with an attachment to a shared mailbox that the sales order agent is monitoring. Once the email gets sent, the autonomous agent is triggered. Moving on to Dataverse, in the sales order agent app, in near real time, we can observe that the email attachment gets saved into the Dataverse table staging document. We can also observe how the status of the document changes to extracted, and the document details are available into the extracted data column in JSON format. Once the extraction finishes successfully, the staging sales order header and lines are also created. The agent is now going to autonomously validate firstly the customer. If that process is successful, it will populate the ERP customer number column, and then it will try to validate the items and populate the ERP product code column. With the valid customer and lines, the agent will finally proceed to create the order in finance and operations. The status will change from valid to processed, which is the final status. In the Dataverse form, we also have a preview functionality where we can review the original attachment. Let's navigate now to the ERP system to confirm if the order was created. Here we have the order that was just created. Let's open the form. We can see that the lines are also created successfully. And additionally, the agent also uploaded as an attachment the original email attachment. For the human in the loop run, we start again from Outlook, sending an email with an attachment to a shared mailbox that the sales order agent is monitoring. Again, in Dataverse, in the app, we find that the email attachment is saved in the Dataverse staging document table. The original document gets parsed and we can see the extracted data with all of the items. In the corresponding staging sales order header record, we can see that the agent has already started running the validations. The customer was found to be valid with the ERP customer number column populated, and some of the lines are valid with few of them not valid. This will then change the status of the order header from new to manual review. There's also an email notification that's sent to a reviewer with a hyperlink to the staging sales order header record that has to be reviewed. The reviewer can analyze the lines that have issues, review the error messages, and perform any necessary corrections. In this case, the reviewer will proceed to provide the correct ERP product codes for those invalid lines, and then mark the lines as valid. This will trigger the agent that will consider the order to be valid since the customers and the lines are now valid. The order will then be created in finance and operations. Let's now confirm that the order was successfully created in D365 by navigating there and identifying the 2387 order, opening the form, and ensuring that all of the lines have been created. That looks good. And finally, let's also make sure that the original email attachment has been uploaded here as well. And there we go. We can also see the attachment available in Finance and Operations. Let's continue now with the installation process and detailed steps on how you can configure the sales order agent for your organization's needs. The sales order agent is shipped with the Dataverse solution. When importing the solution, the next prerequisites apply. You will need first a connected Dataverse with the Finance and Operations environment. The user who installs the solution must be a licensed Dynamics 365 user. And please consider that the agent will consume Copilot Studio credits, so this should be available either as prepaid packs or pay-as-you-go. The user who imports the solution should be a Dataverse system administrator in order to successfully import the solution and configure the agent after solution import. Finally, before importing the solution, we need to make sure that two Dataverse virtual tables are enabled, and these are Release Products v2 and Customers v3. As you try to import the sales order agent solution, you will need first to re-establish connections. The solution contains flows that connect to Dataverse, Finance and Operations, Outlook, Copilot Studio. And the connection will use the current user's context at import, but you can change this to use the connection of a least privileged account or a service principal where that is possible. Next, you will see a list of variables which drive the sales order agent logic. Ensure to provide values for a personal mailbox or a shared mailbox to monitor, the mailbox folder to monitor, the company code, and the reviewer email address. If you don't provide values for shared or personal mailbox to monitor, the respective flow triggers will be disabled. You can edit the mailbox values post-solution import from the context of an unmanaged solution, but then you'll also need to ensure to turn on the respective flows as they might have been disabled. If you require to monitor other folders than inbox, please ensure that there is a rule in place to route the emails automatically to the respective folder. For example, for a subfolder called Sales Order, you need to provide the value inbox/sales order for the folder to be monitored by the agent. In order to receive email notifications, ensure to provide email addresses for the reviewer mailbox. And for the agent to execute successfully, a company code value is required. We will discuss in a few minutes how to change the design for a multi-company agent. And finally, if you also would like to process image attachments and not only PDF, set the processing image attachments from no to yes. We have a mandatory post-installation step, and that is updating the STOA v3 create order in ERP. There are 3 actions in this agent flow which need to be updated. You can do this from the Power Automate Maker portal, make.powerautomate.com. Basically, we need to change the ERP instance for 3 actions. As you make the change, please wait for a couple of seconds for the ERP instance change to be processed and confirm that the input parameters have kept their values. We have done the change now for create sales order in ERP. Let's repeat it for the upload attachment action. And finally, for the create sales order line action. Once completing the changes, please make sure to save and publish the agent flow. Editing environment variables after we have imported the sales order agent solution. You can modify the environment variables by first creating an unmanaged solution, adding the variables to it, and then making your changes. Please note that the environment variables cannot be edited directly in the managed solution that's deployed with the sales order agent. In order to identify the components that belong to the sales order agent, like the environment variables, you can use the AI pod prefix. This example, I'm adding the environment variables and then these will be editable from the context of this unmanaged solution. To streamline deploying updates to higher environments, bundle all change components into a single solution, and then simply deploy the managed sales order agent solution first, and then deploy your solution containing the modified or the new components. Another way to customize the sales order agent solution is to edit the extraction prompt. Perhaps you need to include more attributes. First, you need to ensure to add the prompt to your unmanaged solution so that you keep track of this component that you will have changed. Then you can edit the GPT prompt from the AI Hub in make.powerapps.com portal. The name of the prompt that we are using in the sales order agent is document.json extract. In this example, I'm adding payment terms to be extracted. Then I'm testing the prompt with the sample document to make sure that the payment terms are correctly in the output. You can refine the prompt further, add more columns, potentially even change the AI model that the prompt uses. When adding additional columns to extract, consider if you need those persisted in dedicated Dataverse columns. You would also need to create the logic to populate these columns in the load sales order data cloud flow. It's also important to not change the name of the existing columns like delivery customer name, the delivery customer email, as well as the item columns, as this will impact the logic for creating the staging sales order header and lines. Next, let's customize the agent further to support multiple companies. In my test scenario, I will need to deduce the company code based on the customer's delivery address, and I will have two options for the company being USMF for US-based customers and DMF for non-US-based customers. To achieve this, I will add a new column to the extraction prompt, company code, and I will add instructions in the GPT prompt to populate this column. Then I will update the load sales order data cloud flow to use this new column instead of the company code environment variable when creating the staging sales order header row. So we have changed the behavior of the agent to support two companies, DMF and USMF. Here we are looking firstly at an order that was parsed from a document with a non-US based address. Therefore, the company code used was DMF. Let's quickly confirm in Dynamics 365 that this order actually exists in the DMF company, and there we go, we can see it there. Now let's have a look at another order that was parsed from a sales order document with an US-based address. Therefore, according to our logic in our scenario, the company that should have been used was USMF. And we can see that the order was created, and we should confirm in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, company USMF, that the order exists there as well. Great. How did we achieve this? We had to update two components, and we have added these to our sales order agent customization solutions. First, we had to update the extraction prompt, the document.json extract GPT prompt, to include now instructions that populate the company code in output with our address-based logic. Secondly, we had to update the load sales order data cloud flow to not use anymore the environment variable company code, but instead to use the company code that was extracted by the prompt and that was persisted in the extracted data column in the Dataverse document staging. So with minimal effort, only updating two components, we have enhanced the agent with a significant feature of cross-company support. Finally, some resources and useful links. To dive deeper into the sales order agent, I encourage you to explore our documentation and join the vibrant Viva Engage community. As we wrap up, remember that this agent is designed as a flexible starting point, giving you a solid foundation to tailor and extend for your unique business processes. Whether your goal is full end-to-end automation or optimizing specific steps, the agent is built to adapt to your needs. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you found the information on the sales order agent useful and looking forward to connect with you in our next technical talk.